Hello! Hello, hello! Oh, I've got a Christmas border today. Let's take that away. Let's put this one back on. Boop. How is everyone? Happy Friday! It's lovely to see you all again. How have you been? I have been so sleepy this week. Sleeping in every single morning. This week has gone by really fast for some reason. I think it is just because I've been sleeping half the day. But I've also been playing a lot of BG3 in the evening, so it's made me extremely, I don't know. The evenings have gone by extremely fast. Yeah, I hope you're doing well. I had a bit of a migraine, something close to a migraine today. So much so that I was like, oh no, am I gonna make it this week? Of course I am. I'm just gonna come back and see you guys. Let's get straight into it. First of all, let me show you what I finished after last week. It's Cactus. I think at the end of last stream he was looking a little bit rough, so I have finished him off. Oh. I have, finished rendering him. I think it looks lovely. Woo, my show is on. Hello, Skada. Yeah, so he's all nicely rendered out now. It's really funny. My style has changed so much between these three. I feel like now I have to go back and bring the other two up to speed. So yes, this is what we did last week. I think he looks so yummy. I really like how his coat turned out and his little tusks and his hair and his, so cute. So cute, so lovely. But this is not what we're doing today. Today, we're back on the grind. Looks so cool, thank you. We are back on the grind. Every single D&D character that I've ever played, even if it was just for one session, in the form of one big stained glass illustration. This is where we're up to so far. And I've got 4 of them finished. I've finally finished all the line art for everyone. I'd just like to bring everyone's attention to Zippy. Look, he's so cute. He's so cute, a little ferret, little fire ferret with little mushrooms. I just want to pet him. Oh, he's so cute. I love him. I love him so much. I was really putting off drawing him because I was like, ferrets are so liquid. They're like those little balloon toys that you get that just like slip out of your hands, I feel. So I wasn't sure how to draw him, but he came out so cute. But who we're going to focus on today is my unfinished girly right here, Tahlia. What a queen. And me show off her full design because she's one of the few that has like art from recent years. So this is her, and she's so pretty. She is a hexblade warlock, and this big sword is her best friend slash crush slash patron, a sentient sword named Damien. She named him when she was 13. It's not his fault. So he's not got a very intimidating name. She works for the biggest magical institution in the Empire, and she's a bit of a live wire. She's a little bit of a live wire. I played her for one session, and honestly it's some of the most fun I've had playing a character ever. She has such a strong personality, and just this aura around her that everything that she said to people just seemed to come off the wrong way. Every single thing that she would say, like, she was genuinely trying to be nice, but because, I don't know if it was just her demeanor or her accent. She did have a bit of like a Mean Girls, like stereotypical mean popular high school American girl accent, you know the type, like straight out of Mean Girls. And I think that just made everything she said come across as though it was a bit of an insult. So people weren't really sure how to feel about her in character. But I love her. Her favorite thing in the world is swords and sword play. It's her special interest. She knows everything about swords and daggers and knives, how to forge them, how to care for them, everything. It's her special interest. She absorbed it all while she was living on the streets, right outside of a blacksmith. And after being rejected and from the magical school and abandoned by her sister, she made it work for herself. And she harbors a lot of resentment for her older sister and tried to kill her. As you do. Hi, Eleonora. How are you? I hope you're doing well. Happy Friday. It's good to see you. Have you done your D&D? I'd love to hear about it. So yeah, hopefully I'll get to finish Dear Tahlia today quickly, so then we can move on to someone else. Yeah. I love something else I really love about her is just her aesthetic. I don't often do really girly girls. Usually I have like noble women or sort of like a witchy, like a darker witchy aesthetic like I have with my wizard Senamirin or my hexblood girly. But Tahlia is all girly girl. She loves it. She loves pink. She loves to dress up. She's all frills. And I think that's so nice. Especially when she's like quite martial. Very ladylike. I'm well today, a bit eepy, but it's the weekend, so we're chilling. Hell yeah. That's what we like to hear. That is what we like to hear. I've been so sleepy this week. Maybe it's just the sleepy curse. Maybe we're just all cursed to be a little bit sleepy this week. Haven't done D&D yet, we got hit with the scheduling conflicts. No! Oh, the ultimate final boss of D&D. Oh, that's so cruel. I'm devastated for you. I could never. I say this every time. I don't know what I would do if we didn't play every week. I know that some groups can't play every week, but I think it's really good. You know, it makes it like a commitment in your mind, so you just make sure that you always leave that day free whenever you can. But I know some people have sort of different work schedules that change every week and everything like that, and yeah. Some of the people in, some of the players in my group, when they've gotten jobs, they've been like, oh, we need to leave Sunday free. It's very important. So as long as I don't work on a Sunday, it's fine. And that's kind of how I've managed to keep up weekly sessions. The commitment is real. We're just so there. Oh. I don't really have much to update for my campaign this week. Mostly because, I mean, it was a lot of fun. We had a little slice of life episode. It felt very beach episode. We were all just enjoying a festival and our first day in the new city. So it was a bit full of shenanigans, really. There was a big speech, and it did feature Immaculate Conception. So, you know, that's something. That is definitely something to keep an eye out for. The big evil wet church of the land. They did a happy festival speech and announced that one of their priestesses has fallen pregnant through Immaculate Conception, and we all know what that means. We all know what that means, really. Someone got caught with their pants down. So it was very suspicious. Bodes well for us, I'm sure. I'm sure it'll never come up again. I'm sure it's not going to be important. Why would it be? Yeah, mostly just did like little carnival games, and well, we moved into our little apartment block, and now we've all got little Pinterest boards with what our different characters' apartments look like, because this is basically a sitcom now. We all have our own apartment, and they're all decorated completely differently, and I love it. It's so cute. Scandalous. Yeah, I know. Scandals in the church? Never. Never. I would never have thought. I'd never have thought. Yeah, I still got some time to kill before we meet up with our patron again to sort out the whole horrible gas about to destroy my character's entire hometown. You know, we have to take a few days off before we do that, apparently. I'm sure she's fine about that. Definitely not feeling the pressure at all. I don't know why anyone would. Yeah, that's basically it. Oh, we did learn a little bit more about our NPC William last week as well, to be fair. He was threatened by our patron, and they had this whole we got to sit there and watch the DM just talk to themselves, which was great fun. And basically it was all like, oh, the party don't know what you are, what you really are. And William was like, they don't need to know. And like, if you stop being useful, I'm gonna tell a bunch of people how to find you. So he's definitely into some shady stuff. But it makes me curious because our party is not against criminals or anything like that, you know? We met on a prison boat, after all. Not against criminality, so it's not like that. There's gotta be something, it's gotta be something worse than that. If we would be upset to discover the truth. So I'm very curious to know what the truth is. Teehee. I love to do silver armor and then just add like a bunch of different colors into it. Makes it feel a lot more, I don't know. If you shade it all with grey, it tends to come out a bit sad. And metal reflects the colours around it. We're getting the colour of her hair and things like that. So pretty. What kinds of characters do you guys find most fun to play? Is it sort of the sad, serious type? Is it the... You guys like to play characters that are more similar to yourself or more different to yourself? I think I find the morally grey, chaotic ones the most fun to play. Cinnamon has been the most fun to play that I've ever had with a character. Which is quite funny because I usually, well, I feel like I'm kind of known in our party for creating characters that are immensely, immensely sad. They're always so tragic and sad and serious. And I do like playing them. I don't think I realized how much more fun I could be having than playing a sort of morally good character with a bunch of tragedy behind them. I think it's kind of comfortable to go for a character that's sort of lawful and good. Because I feel like a lot of the time it's a bit nerve-wracking. You don't want people to dislike your character. I feel like it's quite easy to go for the sort of character that is quite agreeable. And that definitely was the case for me for a long time. But I think over the last couple of years playing like a lot, I've grown a bit more confident, and people disliking my characters or certain actions that they do doesn't scare me so much anymore. But it definitely was a thing before. Now I love party drama. I love inter-party conflict. Like, yes, argue with me. I think it's good for me, you know? Takes me out of the social anxiety aspect of it. You know? The people pleasing. Like, hey, maybe it's not the end of the world if people don't like my character. Or don't like me, or don't agree with me. Or I say something wrong, or do something wrong. Maybe it's okay. I end up playing a lot of characters that have conflicting feelings about the structure of how local politics work, which surely has nothing to do with the way things are going IRL. So true. Oh my gosh. I love angry angry characters, anti-establishment characters. Yeah, you know, like nothing to do with how the world is right now. Not conducting a revolution in D&D because you wish that could happen in real life. Never, never. I have that as well. I also find that I tend to do characters a lot. My last two characters have this sort of mentality of like, what goes around comes around. Like they tend to just have this sort of give and take, law of equal exchange about them. And I don't, like thinking about it, I'm not sure if that's something that I believe. But man, it would be nice, wouldn't it? Anyone that's just been not pleasant to me in the past gets their just desserts, gets their retribution. I do think that's fun. That's why I love revenge stories so much. Sense of justice, maybe. Oh. Ugh, I love doing armor. It's so pretty. I think the reflections of armor is just so nice. A little bit of rendering metal was one of the first things that like really solidified itself in my style. It is quite funny. I have a lot of old drawings, pieces that I did in university that have a very, very simple style. The skin rendering is so simple and not very good. And then the clothing and the environment, everything like that, it was very simplified. And then my metal, like a character would be wearing gold jewelry and it'd be so highly rendered for no reason. It looked a little bit out of place. But I always got compliments on it. It was always one of the few things that in our critiques that would get pointed out often. I quite enjoyed those critiques back in the day. I know that most artists find criticisms of their work deeply hurtful and personal. Well, I don't mean like, you know, it feels like such a personal thing, and sometimes it can really leave a mark on you, make you feel a bit less confident when someone has something negative to say about your artwork, but it does help to become better. Other people can see things that you can't. Like, it took me a really long time to realize that I was drawing noses way too fucking big. And it's just because someone pointed it out. I was like, oh my god, yeah. Noses are so huge. There's been run away from responsibility of leading her people, posing as a noble to feed information to the rebellion. Cleric realizes the church is actually super fucked up, and now noble having her worldview shattered and seeing things how they really are. Gosh, there's a lot of like I don't know, there's a lot of realization, self-discovery, and then turning around and becoming a bit of a leader aspect of your characters. So fun. I love to play a religious character. Well, I would love to play a religious character that realizes that their church is completely fucked. I would love to do that. Maybe that would be my next character. because I've actually never done it, but I love that concept. So I love to play a religious character also. I'm not religious in real life, but you know, in D&D, all the gods are real, so it's kind of hard not to be religious. And it's also such a fun aspect of a character, you know, it's super fun world building, especially if you play in different areas in the world. For the most part, my party have played in the same empire, in the same like couple of countries, the whole time that we've played together. But now we're branching out, and it seems like every campaign that we do from now on is going to be in like a completely different place. So that means I have to be religious every time, obviously, because I have to explore what all the gods are. And I think it's fun. I think it's fun to be able to go and have a crisis of faith, or become the champion of a god, or just go to a god and be like, hey, what's up? Hey, what's up? How's it going? It's my last character. My last campaign character was the champion of the goddess of death, which was so slay. He had such cool armor for it. It was so cool. It was so cool to do his... He had like a pilgrimage to go on, a bunch of trials to do, a way of proving himself, and it was really special as well because the goddess of death usually does not choose champions in this world. She's very content to sort of leave people be, and it was very much against what a lot of other gods might do, where other gods are like, I have chosen you to be my person, I've chosen you to be my champion and you have no choice. She was very much like, listen, this is a big responsibility, you're gonna have to keep doing this even after you die. You know, you're not gonna go to any sort of afterlife, you're going to join me in my realm, you're gonna be by my side for eternity, and it's, you know, you're gonna have to keep fighting for me and doing all of this. You don't have to say yes, you know, it's fine if you don't want to do that. I just want you to live and be happy and do whatever you want to do. And my character was like, of course I want to be your champion, you're so cool. And I was just so I just found it so cute. She was like, you don't have to say yes, it's okay, don't worry about it, you don't have to, only if you want to. I just think that's quite a funny and quite adorable stance for a god to take, especially one of death. Post-campaign cleric is on a crusade helping dismantle the church and actually teach the people how to deal with the plague themselves. A goddess isn't thrilled because she technically wants more people to die of the plague, but like the cleric is messing up the opposition, so it's a tense relationship. Oh, that's so fun. Goddess is like, I guess you're kind of helping, but also I don't like the way you're doing it. I love it. I think my first campaign, my religious boy, he has gone to seek out essentially like Babylon's tower, which his goddess during his pilgrimage showed him this tower and was like, this is where I ascended, and this is how I ascended to godhead. Here it is. But didn't really explain why she was showing him that. So post-campaign, now he's like, well, I got nothing better to do, I guess. I've been I've been kicked out of the Empire, so I can't continue with my sort of champion duties in a normal way. I guess I'll just have to find this Babylon's Tower, I guess. I guess I'm just gonna have to ascend to godhood. It's an obvious next step. Not really. He hasn't thought of that. I want him to ascend to godhood. Because I just think it'd be so cool. It'd be so cool to have a character just become a god. When you reach that level 20, anyway, basically you're a god. What's the difference, you know? These ribbons in. I think I kind of... I always feel a little bit bad for characters as well when they finish their campaign and don't get to chill. I mean, depending on what the campaign was, I guess. It's a bit rough when they don't get to sit down and rest. But I'm not really one to talk, I can't. I love to give my characters a sad ending, like what can I say? See, Tahlia, after her session ended, there's like, it's not officially happened, it's not canon, but in my mind and in the one shot that I have planned, she is basically taking down the entire magical academy that she was first shunned from, and then basically used her. Like, they left her on the streets, and then when she became powerful enough, they brought her in, and then they just sort of used her to do what they wanted, and they lied to her and all of this. So, and she came from nobility, but she has so much resentment for that now that she's like, fuck nobility, fuck the 1%. If Era makes it out alive, I guess I'll let her breathe. Yeah, if she ever stops being a Wendigo. Oh my gosh. Hello Waffles, it's lovely to see you again. Welcome to the stream. If you're wondering, this is one of my lovely characters, Tahlia. I only played her once, but my gosh, was she a lot of fun. I'm actually currently playing Tahlia as a solo BG3 run, currently Baldur's Gate 3. And she's so fun. Hexblade is so strong in that game. It's actually insane. I feel like some of the classes that they put out in patch 8 just have not been balanced. Because they're crazy. They do so much damage. She's not needed any friends. It's just been her and Damien against the world. As it always has been. Bless. Yeah, it's been so much fun. I miss her. I want to play her again so badly. I don't know how or why. And Eleonora, if Era What does Era's perfect retirement look like? What's the happiest ending for your girl? That's a thought experiment that I love to think about with my characters. Like, what is their happiest ending? What's the best outcome for them? And is it actually something that they want? Because the best thing for them something that they themselves desire, or is the best thing for them something that they would never even think of? Is my boy from the last campaign, Zafir, I think his best outcome would have been that he just gets to rest. The guy has been fighting for so long, and he was never a fighter. He was never born to be a fighter. He was born to be an artist. He was a painter. That was his whole thing. And he was made into a warrior against his will. And all he wanted to do ever since he started fighting was to stop fighting. But because of the choices he made, because he decided to become the champion of his goddess and become her blade, which was a decision that he made. It just means he will never ever stop fighting. He will never get to put his sabers down, not even when he is dead again, which is like pretty sad, I guess. He definitely deserves to rest, and it would be good for him if he could just sit down and paint for a while. But he is happy. It's kind of something that he's learning to love. Through not having to fight for his life every single day. I think it's kind of just like goes out hunting, monster hunting for fun and stuff like that now, while he's searching for this tower. It's kind of nice. It's like his second best ending, I suppose. It's definitely one of the happier endings that he could have gotten. Because things are rough. Things are rough for that boy. Oh. Thirsty. This girl has so much hair. She has so much hair, it's crazy. I think I need to phase out these lines a little bit. Just make it a little bit softer. Most recently, I think Era's gotten very existential. I think she'd be happy if she just got to experience snow, even just once, genuine natural snow. They don't get that where she's from. Oh my gosh, that's so sad. Oh, that's such a small ask. Bless. It's always the little things that make the most impact, you know? I hope she gets to experience snow. She deserves it. She's been through a lot. I recently watched my first Studio Ghibli film, Spirited Away, also Grave of the Fireflies. Even if both are drastically different, it has given me so much inspiration. I recommend everyone to watch those films. The dialogue, visuals, and story are stunning, even if everyone has probably seen them already. I love Spirited Away. I haven't watched Grave of the Fireflies, just because I know that it's really, 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 really sad. And usually what I'm looking for when I'm watching Studio Ghibli films is something warm and comforting, like Howl's Moving Castle, or The Cat Returns, or, you know, something nice and sweet. So the Grave of the Fireflies doesn't usually, you know, doesn't usually do it for me. But I love Spirited Away. Oh, it's such a beautiful film, and I love all the spirits, and it's just so cute. I do love Studio Ghibli. I think the sense of childlike wonder you can get from it is lovely. And it always makes food it always makes food look so delicious. The food in any Ghibli film makes me absolutely ravenous, especially Spirited Away. The whimsy! Oh, Howl's Moving Castle. Yes, Howl's Moving Castle is my favorite one, I have to say. It's just like, the story is just so sweet. The romance, the visuals, the whimsy. The food, yes. Oh my gosh. That whole scene in Spirited Away where the parents are just eating so much food, like all of that food looks incredible. Like, yes, I would also be turned into a pig. I'm sorry. Like, I'll be right in that pen with them. You could not pull me away. I do agree. Grave of the Fireflies is a little too much for me, but I do think it's a very important film. But maybe grab a box of tissues on the day off. Yeah, absolutely. The message is so important. I just, yeah, very devastating. Very devastating film. From what I've heard and the clips that I've seen and everything like that. Oof. But yeah, you're right. There's a lot of importance to be found in films like that. They have something to share. Let me see. I've been rendering things very slightly differently recently, so I feel like I have to make sure that it looks the same as everyone else in here. I'm gonna change the color of her line art of the armor just to make it blend in a little bit. See, now that's just lovely. Gotta do her sword and her scale mail. Oh no. Oh no, scale mail. Why did I give her scale mail? But look at how I did it before. I feel like I kind of just winged it before. Maybe I can do that again. do like a very rough pattern. If there's one thing about me, it's that I don't know how to take a shortcut. Never have, never will. My chainmail and scale mail always takes so long to do. And I know there are quicker ways to do it. I haven't found one that works for me. That'll do. It needs to be smaller. I feel like it needs to be smaller. How do I... I don't really want to redo it. But it's going to annoy me if it's too small. Maybe I will just... Oh yeah, it's gonna look so much better if I make it smaller. Sometimes I can't just be lazy, you know? Okay, where did that go? Oh, it was right there the whole time. Oh. Apologies, everyone. Kind of just like... yeah, if I kind of just like wumble it about, it'll work. I love making design choices that I curse myself for at a later time. No, so true. So true. I love the look of chainmail, right? You know what? Fuck that. Okay, right. I'm gonna do it properly. It's not that much. It's gonna take longer for me to fix it than it will do to just... Anyway. Yeah, I love making design choices that I curse myself for at a later time. So absolutely true. I love to make really detailed character designs and then I'm like, oh god, I've got to draw this. I did that with my character Sano. Her tattoos are crazy detailed. They are insane. And you know, I did that knowing that for the most part they would always be covered up because that is how she dresses, because her tattoos are illegal. Well, not the tattoos themselves, but what they represent is illegal. It'll get her executed, blah blah blah. So she always has them hidden, which means that I don't have to draw them often, and that's fine. But the times that I do have to or want to draw them, I curse myself. It takes so long. And sometimes it's okay because like they're so detailed, and sometimes she's far enough away that I can just vaguely put the shapes in. But if I ever have to do the details, it takes so long. It's so meticulous, and man, it just, because I want to do them right. I want it to be proper, you know. So, yeah. I have a question. I have noticed many of the clothing designs for my characters are very boring. When you see one of my characters, the clothing may seem fine, but I reuse too much and every character ends up looking the same. I don't really know what to do. I have to say, for me, Pinterest. I do a lot of scrolling through Pinterest for ideas, even when I'm not actively looking for something to draw. It also, I guess it kind of depends on the genre of character as well. I have a lot of fun with fantasy, medieval characters, and I always just, I go fucking mental. I go crazy with my character designs, with my clothing designs, because it's like, you know, it's not real, and so you can kind of just make things as interesting and goofy and fun as they want to. But I also, when I used to do characters that were set in a modern era, everyone was just wearing jeans and a t-shirt, and I was like, how do I make this fun? I would layer up their t-shirts, I'd give them fun graphics, leather jackets and stuff like that. Everyone kind of ended up looking a bit alt. Pinterest is huge. I would also recommend it. Yeah, spend enough time on there and you'll have a perfectly like curated home feed that just has all the stuff that you want before you even know what you want. I would also say that looking at a lot of other cultures' clothing and a lot of clothing from different historical periods is also really cool and will give you a lot of new ideas and just ways of thinking about things that maybe you didn't think of before. It gives you sort of, I don't know, every sort of region has their own aesthetic, every era as well. There are so many different ways that fashion has changed over the past, like, even just 50 years. Fashion has changed immensely, and the last 100 years, 200 years, crazy. Yeah, I treat clothing as an integral part of character design as well. It's a bit like, clothing is a bit like a character itself, or like a huge aspect of who a character is. I tend to find the way that people dress themselves shows a lot about who they are, especially in like actual character design. And so I love to think about where they're from, what they do, what sort of person they are, how they fight, if they fight, what their occupation is, and like where they're from has a lot to do with how they dress, because it's sort of the cultural norms, the societal norms, what's trendy in their fictional universe, the environment, whether it's hot or cold or a desert or a jungle. It's all so cool. I go crazy on it. I put a lot of thought into it, but that's something that I really, really enjoy. So I never think that anyone has to go as in-depth into it as I do, but just because it's just something that I really like. Pinterest does unfortunately have a lot of AI. Yeah, I've had Pinterest has a lot of AI stuff, so I guess I'll watch out for that. I guess half my stuff takes place in the modern eras. I love to take inspiration from what I've seen in my culture. Yeah, that'd be a good idea. Thanks, guys. Pinterest does have a lot of AI, yes, but once you curate it, you can dodge it pretty easily. Yes, exactly. You just have to watch out for it. Unfortunate AI, but you know, you can find a lot of cool photos of stuff and cosplay and all of that. I think accessories for the modern era, especially, like, accessories are a big thing. You can always jazz something up with an accessory or two. Is that good enough for my scale mail, do we think? It's okay. It's okay. It looks fine from afar, which I guess is the point. It's kind of a weird shape. It's kind of laying in a weird way. So you liquefy. And this is when my huge canvas size really comes in. Oh my gosh, I'm blind. I'm blind, this is so bright. It's kind of... No. That's okay. Maybe I'll do some like fake line art, I guess. Or maybe I'll add some real line art. And use just like a couple of lines. Maybe I could do something with that. Oh, I remember around last year I went to more local parts of the province of Friesland in my country. I went to very local spots. I've seen many people wearing very traditional clothing. Maybe I could do something with that. Yes, absolutely. I think looking at traditional clothing is definitely something that you could bring in to your characters, even in the modern era, because even in the modern era people do wear traditional clothing from their cultures, and it'd be very cool to bring more eyes to that, to your culture. There's something to be proud of there, and it's also like a cool way of setting yourself apart is to add in elements of traditional clothing into otherwise very sort of normal everyday outfits. You know, people wear all sorts of stuff nowadays. So you can get really crazy with it, and you know, people are walking outside with historical garments on and all of that. And traditional clothing is always so interesting and so beautiful, I find. The old stuff just like... there was so much more time put into it, I think. There was so much more care. All the embroidery and the patterns, the fabrics, everything was... it wasn't like cheap fast fashion like we have nowadays. Traditional clothing and clothing from the olden times, I guess. There's not one specific era, but you know, pre-industrial revolution, pre the rise of ultra capitalism and stuff. Everyone was making stuff by hand, things had to last. The fabrics were sturdy and natural, and there was so much time put into everything, just handcrafting each element of everything. Which is what I love so much about the medieval era in particular, but you can see it all the way up. Edwardian era, Victorian era, Regency, all the way up to the Industrial Revolution. Now it's just Now we're just pumping out slop to make money. And it's so depressing. Exactly, like one thing I did for a fictional world is blend the traditional architecture of the Netherlands. Bright green painted wooden and brick houses with white arches and orange roof shingles. It's something you would see in farming villages around the Industrial Revolution. Oh, that sounds so lovely. That sounds so lovely. Absolutely. I think there's definitely a rise in people looking for stuff like that and wanting, like, there's been such a rise recently in escapism to older periods of time, and I think that's just the crushing weight of capitalism is getting to everyone. And seeing the way that our ancestors did things is just so cool. It's just so fun because they were really smart. There's a lot of false news about sort of medieval era and those who came before us all being sort of brutal and unclean and ill-mannered, and everyone was poor and miserable and sad and stinky and sick, and the punishments were brutal and everything like that. But it really was not as bad as it has been portrayed to be. It's just, it makes us feel better nowadays. It's very like, oh, things are, you know, things are bad, but at least we're not them, you know? But actually, things were much better. Things were fine. Things were fine back then. In a lot of ways. It wasn't as miserable and brutal and terrible as it's portrayed to be. Dance architecture is what it's called. Sadly, there's only few buildings left with that style since most of them burned down. Old stuff is so cool. You are so right. I love it. I love watching these videos of people making stuff in like the traditional way. Making stuff out of reeds and willows and string and handcrafting everything, like weaving stuff on a loom and all of that. It's so cool. I always get, it's so, I don't know, it's so satisfying to watch as well. A little rope in. A little waist tie. A way of zhuzhing up her armor. Because making a breastplate that is extremely cinched isn't enough. She also has to wear a little ribbon around her waist just to make it look extra cinched. I think it's one of the funniest things about full plate armor, like real full plate armor, is that full plate was for the wealthy, usually. It's for those who would sit on horses, and very commonly you could see the style of clothing at the time based on the shape of the armor. If you have armor with huge hips and tiny little waists, because clothes and armor would just do the shaping of the body. Versus nowadays when we have this ugly like polyester and spandex that clings to our bodies and makes it look so unflattering, and the trend is what our actual bodies look like. Whereas before, we just wear layers and bustles and corsets and stuff to make the silhouette that we desired. Like, yeah, you could still have a little hourglass figure with a huge ass, but, you know, your clothes did that for you. You didn't have to look like that in real life. You didn't have to do all of this stuff to make yourself fit the trend. Really hilarious that they did it in armor form though. I love them. That's why some of the armor looks so silly. It's great. So the person making a doll house in this English Victorian style using actual timber and carving and fabrics. It's so cool. Yes! Oh my gosh, that sounds so cool. I love crafting. I love dioramas and stuff. That's so cool. It's really like those little tiny mini construction videos as well. I love those. Oh, and I miss that channel. I don't know if they still I don't know if they are still around. There was a really popular channel back in the day that did like tiny cooking, where they would like cook food or like really small over a tea light, and they had like a tiny miniature oven and stuff. Oh, so satisfying. She gotta be fancy. Yes, she does. She's my girly girl. Her armor has got to be fancy. She's very fashionable. And when she gets her own legion, I guess, her own team, her own squad of knights to lead, they've all got to be as fashionable as her. In game, Tahlia is actually, I want to say she's like 30 now, but she's still dressing like this. Because the session that we did, she was, it was set 10 years in the past, so she's grown up a little bit since then. She's grown up a tiny bit, just a little bit, but I think she still looks very stylish and very pink. Okay, I think it might be time to do Damien. Just smooth him out. He is such a pretty sword. Obsessed with him. I think it'd be so cool to make a little sword like this, make a little cosplay sword that looks like Damien. I do think if I was going to cosplay any of my characters, it would probably be Tahlia. I think she's just the most cosplayable, probably. She's simple enough to pull off, I think. But she still looks very stylish. I do believe that Damien, the sword, houses the spirits of her dead family within him, which is fun. It belonged to her ancestor originally, and this sword just seemed to have chosen her bloodline as his favored bloodline, and basically is just ensured that he'll always end up in their hands, one of their hands. And a lot of them end up dying to the blade itself, which is fun. Cursed family sword. You'll have to see it. Give him a little bit of shine. And add in his very, very pink jewels. It does have a jewel here as well. I find gems so interesting to do. So you kind of just like throw in a bunch of blobs, a vaguely right position, and add some highlights, and then suddenly it's a gem. Like, how did that happen? Now it's a gem. Add some pink. Add some reflections. And a little soft light layer, methinks, to make it glow. Or maybe I'll do hard light and turn it way down. Ready? Add a tiny bit of light to her eyes, just to make them pop. And to her jewelry as well. And maybe to her armor. Just like a little bit of bloom, you know? Ooh, she's so pretty. Okay. I think I'll probably leave her there for now. I'm not like 100% finished with her, I don't think. But I think we're most of the way there. I think I can call her done enough for now. I think she fits with the others. Yeah. She needs like, I think she needs one more pass, potentially. But we have 45 minutes left. So I might get onto the wheel and choose my next victim. Potentially. I just want to deepen. Ugh. Thank you, Eleonora. She's just so pretty. I'm absolutely obsessed with him. I love to make really, really pretty girls who have absolutely no sort of riz whatsoever. I mean, technically Tahlia does have a lot of riz because she's a warlock, but I don't know, there's something about her. She just doesn't come off quite right. Maybe it's because she's always talking about swords and no one really appreciates that. No one appreciates her special interests. There we go. That will do for now. Here we are. So, let's spin the wheel, spin the wheel. Let's see who we get. Hello, hello, hello. On my way home from work. Hello, Dark Shadow. Oh, you're just in time to see us spin the wheel. I don't know, it would work on me. So real. For Tahlia, absolutely. The sword riz, it would work. Let's go. Da, 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 da. Ren! Oh my goodness, what a cute one! Ren is a very interesting looking character. I'm quite keen. Now who's Ren, you might say? We're sticking on the right side for now. Zooming in. Ren is this person right here. They are non-binary. And they are... Let me get the character sheet. Because this was a crazy... They were crazy to play. College of Eloquence Bard. 6 levels of College of Eloquence Bard. 8 levels of Drunken Master Monk. We're level 14. Bard Monk multiclass. Part Air Genasi, part Tiefling. Champion of the goddess of trickery and lies and thieves and travelers. And they went by Star Child because they were, well, you'll see. They're very star themed. They're a child of the stars. How is everyone? I'll be fully active soon when I get home. I'm good. I'm good, Dark Shadow. Thank you for asking. Well, I wasn't the best today. I had like something close to a migraine. I don't know. It wasn't bad enough that I would consider it a migraine, but it was like a baby one. All on just one side of my head. Didn't go away for most of the day. But thankfully it has gone now. Yippee. How are you, Dark Shadow? Oh, they sound like a riot. I love them. Yeah, they are an absolute hoot. Oh, maybe I'll properly read out this story because it has been a long time since their session. It was a little session run by someone who isn't usually our DM. One of us just trying things out. It was the first session that Uncle Lilorilla ever played with me, which was really cute. And it was basically a bunch of champions of gods come together to I think there was like a big gate that was opening to another realm, and we had to close it, I believe. Something along those lines. I don't really remember the actual story of the session. Stressed, just trying to move out before February. Bless your heart, Dark Shadow. You'll get it done. I believe in you. We've got this. We've got this. Yes, oh my gosh. So because they were the champion of the goddess of trickery and lies and stuff like that, and just, you know, shadows and thieves and all of this, they were a big fat liar. They loved to lie. I have like a list of different lies for them to tell. So they had a lie that one time they rode a silver dragon in more ways than one, wink wink. They had a lie that they have a familiar, but the familiar is just invisible and that's why you can't see it. They had a magical harp, and they had a lie that they were gifted the harp by a very important noble because they rescued their daughter from a hag coven and then played at her wedding. But in actuality, Ren, Starchild, won the harp in a bet. The biggest lie that they told is that, well, is that their mother was a pirate and their father was a djinn that was trapped in a bottle that the pirate used as treasure, that they got as treasure. They formed a bond over time on the ship, and their mother didn't want to use her wishes to free the djinn, but the father felt that she should have them. Eventually, the pirate would use her wishes to ensure the safety of her crew, preventing a kraken and preventing the ship from sinking. So she found a way to free the djinn, but he stuck around, filling her sails with wind to take the ship wherever it needed to go. However, eventually the elemental plane called him home. Her last wish was something to remember him by, and so she was blessed with Ren. They parted ways, and after their mother had Ren, she gave them to her parents to care for them while she was out at sea. And Ren had a song about this, being a bard, and it was basically just to get back at all of the kids that would tease them about having no parents and having to live with their grandparents. They would threaten them that their pirate mother would come back and kill them, and that their djinn dad would suck the air out of their lungs, but their grandparents didn't say a word about their parents. They had disowned Ren's mother, and the grandparents have no idea who their father even is. Bless. They basically spent their entire life as a bard, traveling the country, performing for coin and places to stay. However, it wasn't really paying as well as they hoped, so they found a much more lucrative way of making money by gambling and cheating with the drunkards in the taverns. They loved to lie, spin tall tales, cheat and drink, and gain some of their fighting skills due to their numerous bar brawls. One night, while blackout drunk, they were wandering the streets when they witnessed a vision of Vixis, the goddess. They were told that they were marked from birth. They don't really remember, and agreed to be her champion. They had no memory of this, but began to hear voices and seeing things, ignoring it until Vixis showed them something that they could no longer ignore. Finally, they went to a temple, and the priests uncovered the truth and proclaimed Ren as the champion. Their life changed after that, being constantly monitored and paraded around by the priests, talking about responsibilities and such, as well as being formally trained as a monk. While they enjoyed the fame and renown of being champion, they hate being a holy person and wish they could go back to the way things were. Lying to people is so much harder when they know that you're the champion of the god of deception. So that's their story. Yeah, I don't have anywhere to go yet. This is just eviction, so it's a lot at the moment. Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry to hear that, Dark Shadow. It's terrible. Wish I'd seen that before I just started reading about my character. I hope you're doing okay. That must be really, really hard. Yeah. Hope that this stream can make you feel a little bit better. No, you're all good. I love the story. Yippee! It's nice. They were very... I love that character. I think Ren is so cool. So yeah, they went by Starchild. It was sort of like their bar name. And also because they have very, very dark blue skin, as we can see. And freckles that look like stars. So, you know, they look like they're straight up a child from the stars. And that's why they went by Starchild. It's actually quite sad. They were sent to do this task for this session, and it was all like save the world for the gods sort of thing, and it was a bunch of different champions of different gods, all working together, and in the end they all turned to stone. They performed whatever ritual they needed to perform, and a group of them, and it ended in all of them turning to statues and being lost wherever they were. So now Ren is just a statue somewhere. And it was really sad because the last there was like a bit where it's like, okay, what is the last thing that your character thinks about before they fully turn to stone? And Ren's last thought was sort of betrayal. They never even wanted to be the champion. They hated every part of being this champion. They just wanted to lie and have fun and steal and cheat and travel and sing. And now they had to save the world and they had to become a bloody statue. They never wanted to be the champion in the first place, let alone die for this god. So it's really sad. Most of the other characters were sort of okay with it. It was something that they had come to terms with, I think, well before they set out on their journey. Be right back, just about to head home. Slay. No worries. Yeah, so I don't even have anything to say about them in terms of what they got up to after, or the legacy that they left behind, because I think the only thing that they did leave behind was the song that they wrote about the pirate and the djinn, about who they believed their mother and father to be, and, you know, could have been true. They have no proof. They just... yeah, they just came up with it because they were lonely and being teased by kids on the playground and stuff, and they wanted them to leave them alone. And it's just, yeah. Oh, I think I'd be devastated. Yeah, it was absolutely devastating. It was such a sad moment. I was really sad for Ren. There were also some other characters that it was like, oh my god, ow. When they were turning to stone. as well. One that sticks out in my mind is there was I don't remember what god he was the champion of, but there was a guy that was a father. I think he might have been a girl dad. Just had a couple of young children. And it was just like, the last thing he thought about was his children. And the fact that he would never see them again, but also the fact that he had saved their lives. Like, they would never know the sacrifice that he'd made to keep them safe. And it was like, oh my god. It was so rough. And no one knows where they are either. They're just a group of people, a group of statues somewhere in the world. It's not it's yeah. Absolutely devastating. Yeah. I'm not sure how many sessions the DM had done at that point. The only session I'd ever played with them before that point was actually this one with Nerev, with the magic school, and that was their first session ever. So this was a crazy follow-up. This was a crazy thing to follow up with. It was brutal. So sad. And I think it's probably, I don't know, probably one of the saddest endings of my characters. One of the few that have died. But even if they hadn't turned to stone in that session, in that moment, this was like hundreds and hundreds of years ago in game, so they would have died by old age anyway. But yeah, at least we have a song to remember them by. Hello, I'm back. Yippee! Welcome back. Just talking about how absolutely devastatingly sad the ending of that session was. I have to talk to them about it now. The DM. They remember. It was so cruel. But that's kind of the fun thing about one-shot characters, is you can kind of, it's like a full blaze of glory moment. You can just send them out there to die. Get the stars in. They're wearing a robe of stars. That's one of their magical items. The choices of magical items that I had as well were kind of crazy. Like, again, looking back at their character sheet, I don't know what I was doing. I don't know how I played them in any way. It was kind of fun though. Definitely a sort of a character over specs sort of build. Just going for the vibe. Rather than, you know, what would actually like be good to play. And they also have golden dice, which is fun. kind of their calling card. Yippee. Okay, I think that is base colors in. So how are you, Dark Shadow, apart from the terrible stress that you've been faced with? Have you gotten to play any more D&D? You get to play any more Reese? Or is Reese still sitting there waiting? I love that because Ren is a monk, they're absolutely shredded. They got huge, huge boobs. I love it. Like, goddamn. Save some for the rest of us. And also the full crop top. Another little fun fact about Ren is that they often spoke of their pursuits, their romantic pursuits, all of the people that they have lain with, but in actuality they were a virgin, and they died a virgin. Which is rough. But, you know, at least everyone who knew them thought that they were getting some, I guess. Bless. No, we've had to hold back twice because of me. No! Oh my gosh. See, I came to this stream thinking, oh, I'll be able to hear about my friends, my friends Dark Shadow and Eleonora's sessions, and you've both come to me and you've both said, we've not played. Out scheduling. So sad. Devastated. I'm devastated to hear it. Because I want to know what's happening in your guys' sessions. You've both left it off on such cliffhangers. It's actually... What the hell? LMAO? Real. I don't know what the LMAO is for, but... Just so true. I feel like with their skin being this lovely, lovely, super dark blue color, I think I should add in some sort of lighter blues and purples. Make them kind of like a bit iridescent. I think that'd be nice. Like shiny. Like a bug. We still might not play until next weekend. Oh my gosh. Well, I won't be here next week. Next Friday. I am going to see my family. And then going to a little shindig with my D&D party in real life, which is so fun. That does mean I will not be streaming next Friday. Sad. So you guys have one more week. You guys have two more weeks to go away and play D&D and then come back and tell me about it. Because I want to know. I'm curious. Oh, my LMA was directed at them playing up their escapades and then it being false. Yeah. Absolutely. I don't know, they just felt like... I think they heard that bards are supposed to be really slutty. And so they were like, oh yeah, I've got to be a slutty bard too. That's like, all bards are slutty. That's what I gotta be. That's what I gotta be. But they were a bit of a loser. Okay, they were a bit of a loser. You know, they were just getting into bar fights and, you know, being chosen by a god was one of the few wins that they've ever had in their life, and it led to them being turned into a stone statue. So, like, can you really even call that a win? This person has never had a win in their entire life. And it's so sad. But it's also kind of hilarious. It's fun to play such a loser. They weren't bitter about it though, they just kind of took it all on the chin. Except the being turned into a statue part, they were a bit bitter about that, but they didn't, you know, they weren't aware of that for very long. Unless of course they are fully aware that they are a statue now, which is a horrifying concept. So I really hope that's not the case. I really hope they're just dead and a statue and have no idea what's happened to them. I hope that someone can find them and unpetrify them. That would actually be really cool. Wait, that would be so cool to play as a character. It'd be so fun. If I could somehow, like, if their statue was found and they were unpetrified, and then over the hundreds of years that they were stuck as a statue, they lost all of their sort of power, and so they come back as like a low level, and I can play them for like a campaign or something. That'd be so cool. And then they also have to deal with the fact that it's hundreds of years later. And they've also made an enemy of their god. Or their god has made an enemy of them. Yeah, it was meant to play on the 25th, but had to move it back, sadly. So Reese is where I left him, in a bar, bleeding from the nose while his nightmare enters the end. Oh, poor guy. He's been trapped in this limbo for forever. And poor you. For not being able to play. It's one of those things where, like, I always find that D&D is like the best medicine. It always makes me feel better when things are not going well. So it really sucks when things are not going well and you also can't play D&D because of that in order to make yourself feel better. It's the worst cycle. What a banger concept. Yeah, I know. Maybe I'll speak to someone about this. Maybe I need to speak to someone about this, make this happen for the next campaign. Limbo for weeks. Yeah. At least you have a lot of time to think about what his reaction's gonna be, I guess. I know that's what I would do. Or I would spend a lot of time drawing pictures of him with a bloody nose. Just because I think he'd look good that way. I'm gnawing at the bars of my enclosure to see what happens with Era. Oh my gosh, yeah, you've both got it so rough. Like these cliffhangers are crazy. Era being a Wendigo is insane. Like, actually insane. And you're also so close to the end as well. It's brutal. Just so like, release me. Another fun thing about Ren is they have their eyes are like a new moon or a bit like an eclipse. So their irises are completely black, but then there's a ring of white around the outside, which is cool. I just thought it'd be really cool to have an air genasi that is sort of sky themed, I guess. Like, gosh, what a cool person. They look so cool, but they were such a loser. How could this be? How could this be? I've made a backup character, a drow fighter who is dying from a sickness that he caught from his home, and his main goal is to die in a beautiful, peaceful place. Oh my gosh, that's so sad. Oh, that's so sad. But really beautiful. That's a really beautiful story. Really beautiful reason to go. I've drawn 2 fucked up pieces and I'm ready for another if I must. Every single time the session is delayed, you're just gonna be like, well, I guess you've pulled my arm. I guess I have to do another one. I guess if I have to. Really need... Get the eye shine in. Yeah. They're like the opposite of Drift. Drift is day sky and your baby is nighttime sky. Oh my gosh, they're so cute. Wait. Maybe I should draw them together. A little crossover. That would be so cute. Maybe I'll do them as, maybe I'll do like crossover chibis. Maybe I'll do chibis. I've been meaning to practice my chibis recently. That'd be so cute. Little Genasis together. I really want to play another Genasi. They're just really cool. Gotta drill into the party that is what they have in a Pokeball. They're carrying with them horrors beyond human comprehension, and they just have to know that. They have to keep aware. That's true. You don't want them to forget. Because what if they release her and... You know... Don't want them to be surprised about what comes out. Right, I will now do their little freckles, I think. And put them on a separate layer because it might be a bit crazy. I really love the way the purple has come out on their skin. It's so small. It's so small and so hard to get the dots. Go on, you can do it. Some freckles on their horns. And they're a proper freckly baby. Freckles all over them. I think I'll go through and remove the line art on these freckles as well, just to make them... Ooh, proper little constellation. We'll get Get rid of some of these lines. And then need to clear up their nose a little bit. Oh, I love pretty freckles. Me too. I feel like... I don't know. I feel like hardly any of my characters have freckles. I say that. Tahlia's got some freckles on her cheeks. Bree is an extremely freckly woman. And I think Ren's kind of in the middle of the two. I think something that I sleep on quite a lot is like moles and beauty marks. Just feel like I like to give them just a little freckle, like one or two. And I think I'll give their scars like a little, make it white maybe. I think it's cool. Seems like a little bit funky. Oops. Wrong layer. Oh well. We'll live. We'll survive. It happens to the best of us. And some more little highlights. You can see their features. I think if they woke up from their statue life, aside from being really confused, it would be a proper little, I don't know, proper little Captain America situation, I guess. And they've just been bumped into the future. Aside from dealing with that, I think they'd just be really bitter. Who wouldn't be? But then I think they'd get over it. It's a great story to tell. And, on the plus side, everyone's forgotten. Everyone's forgotten that they were a champion. So they can go back to the life that they were living before. So actually, it's a huge win. Actually a huge win. They did have to spend like a couple 100 years as a statue, but you know, if they got out of it, there's some fun to be had, for sure. And that's one of the few tales they wouldn't even have to lie about. Let's do... Oh my gosh, it's almost 10 o'clock. I just want to get in the gradient, I think. nice and dark at the bottom. Another fun thing about Ren's session is that there was another character. There was another character that had extremely dark blue skin and freckles, white freckles, like the night sky. It was crazy. When we went around and described our characters, the other person went first. And I was so dumbfounded. We had not spoken about this at all ahead of time. It was crazy. I don't know what race they were. I feel like they were just pure tiefling, but I actually might be completely making that up. Could have been anyone. Gee. Yeah. Crazy coinky dink. It's always fun to discover that you've never had an original idea in your entire life. Someone's already done it. I love them though. I think they look so... They definitely look very unique compared to some of my other characters. They stand out in such a fun way. Okay, and I'm just gonna put in... Where's the hair? Where's the hair? Real quick, real quick. We'll just add a gradient for the hair quickly before I go. Little blue. Another one of my characters with white hair. Crazy. Could never be me. I would never have characters with white hair. Except every character I ever made. I'm just kidding. I've become so conscious of how many characters I give white hair that I purposefully avoided giving them white hair. But even when I did that, I ended up with a character with white hair. So really, it's not my fault. Anyway. Let's clean up the edges a little bit. They're so pretty. Thank you. I really do like the way they've come out. I think the addition of the purple is so nice. And it's also really fun. This is the reason why I decided to do this. Is because some of these characters have never had art, or they've only had one piece of art a long time ago, and so that piece is really old and kind of gross and not very, you know, I could do better. And here I am doing better. Ren was not Ren really did not look great when I originally did that art. They were just a little bust and I didn't really think much about it. But now they have a proper design and it makes them stick out, and they have clothes and they just look so much better. So it's just really nice. So yes, it is 10 o'clock. So that is where I'm gonna leave it. Here is everyone so far. Oh, look at them. It's fun to see all my characters like this because it's very, I don't know, it makes them, it gives me the confirmation that I don't always do the same thing for my characters all the time. Because I often find myself being like, oh my gosh, I'd never do anything different with my characters ever. Here's the proof. They all look different. They're all distinct. Obviously Ren's not finished. And we'll finish her. We'll finish them. I guess we'll finish them not next week, but the week after. After because I'm not here. I'm not here next week. So yeah, we'll finish them then, unless I finish them before, and we can move on to someone else. Or maybe I'll do something different next time. Who knows? Anyway, thank you so much for joining me. As always, it's been so lovely to hang out with you. Thank you so much, Eleonora and Dark Shadow and Waffles and everyone else who has popped in or has been lurking. I really appreciate you. Thank you so much for being here. Take care of yourselves. Play some D&D, and I will see you next time. Bye.